Joining us to talk about the future of work, Edith Cooper. She's on the boards of Amazon and Pepsi, as well as former Goldman Sachs head of human capital management. She's also the co-founder of Medley, a group of coaching programs for individuals and workplaces. Edith, good morning to you. I'm so curious how you're thinking about your former employer, Goldman, trying to get everybody back 5 days. Others are trying to do 4 days. Others trying to do 3 days. What do you think the answer is? Is it by industry? What is it by? Is it by who the manager is? What's the way to think about it?
Well, good morning, Andrew. And I decided specifically that I wanted to join you in person.
Yes.
Because in person matters. It matters to me in the people that I met with just coming into the studio. And those interactions really matter. You highlighted in your opening comments that there are a number of different approaches, from mandating, and I say that with heavy parens, that people come into the office 5 days a week, to the other scenario where hybrid is okay all the time, anytime. My view is that it is very important for people to engage in person with humans. But we also, as humans, have learned that a tremendous amount of productivity, work, and engagement can take place remotely. So I'm very, very supportive of the hybrid model. But in order to do that, I think it's very critical to really understand what it means to create a truly inclusive hybrid workplace.
So who, on that front, who is doing it right? Is there a great example of somebody or a company that you say, you know what, these guys have figured it out?
Well, I would ask people who work at organizations whether they believe that it's working out. And why do I start there? Because this is all about the employee's experience. You know, do they work in a place where they feel like the organization has really invested in them and invested in creating an environment where everyone can thrive? Organizations that are doing it right understand that flexibility matters to people, but that there also has to be structure. I mean, imagine this, completely hybrid. You can come in when you want, when you don't want. As a leader, as a manager, that's somewhat challenging to navigate. But if you put in place thinking around what it means to fully engage when you're there, it's really going to make a difference to your people. You're talking with them, creating experiences with them where everyone will thrive.
But what does that mean? Can that be done in 2 days a week? Can it be done 1 day a week? Should it be done? Is that 3 or 4 days a week? Could it be done quarterly? I mean, there's a lot of folks who are trying to do this in different ways.
Yes, the answer is yes. All of those can work. But the reality is you've got to really think about what it means if you're only coming together in person 1 day a week. I mean, let's also take as a backdrop that we're talking about a percentage of the population. So many people in America actually don't have the opportunity to say, you know what, I want to work from home 1 day a week or 2 days a week. And so therefore, we all operate in an ecosystem of human beings that work. And we have to be cognizant of the fact that, you know, we operate in that context. So if you are in an environment, as I would suggest, where you are asking people to come in 3 days a week, be very clear about the why. Andrew, you're going to ask, what does that mean? It means that when people are in the office 3 days a week, that they have an experience that actually reflects the why. The why is often commented or mentioned as it's better innovation, collaboration, relationship building. Okay, what are you doing as an organization to ensure that that's happening for everyone in the organization? And how are you connecting that back to those that are not in the office 2 days a week to ensure that they too are included in the overall framework of excellence?
He's pretty predictable, is he not, Andrew? I mean, you've seen the show. Yeah, you've seen the show once or twice. So let's say there had never been, let's do the counterfactual, no pandemic, never happened. Would we be here? And I think maybe more than the pandemic, just technology has enabled this. Because, I mean, you're in front of a computer, why does it matter where you're sitting? What's been more? I guess both things have added to where we are.
Right. Well, let's go back 10 years, like not right before the pandemic. I would say then, in my professional experience, I was running with my incredible colleagues an HR organization, and I'd come from a sales and trading environment where it, quite frankly, looked a lot like this. Lots of screens, lots of data, et cetera. And in the early days, folks would ask me, you know, how do you feel about remote working? Okay, that wasn't a year before pandemic. That was probably a decade ago. And my response then was, I'm open to it. I mean, me personally, I like to work in the office. That's what I know. That's what I do. And you know what? It kind of sent ripples through the organization because there were many people who were extraordinary in the organization who had started working from home. I then thought, well, let me see how it works, practically whether it makes sense. And I was a leader at Goldman Sachs at the time, and I started working from home 1 day a week. And you know what? It was incredibly productive. I was focused. I saved myself 3 hours a day, but I also still very much enjoyed and got a lot out of going into the office. So this is not a new phenomenon. But what has happened as a result of the trauma and the necessity of COVID, we all fast forwarded in a very significant way and learned how to get things done virtually. It had impact on the way we work. It had impact on the way healthcare was provided. Things happened so quickly that would have probably happened eventually, but instead happened immediately. And we can't go back. We can't forget that. It's part of the culture of work now.